Okay. So previously, we have talked about weather and the seasons and everything. And so this unit that we're going to talk about is going to be about predictions, forecasts, and data. And really, we're talking about precipitation. And precipitation being rain, snow, that's anything that comes from the sky. So, can you tell me what a prediction is? Do you know what predictions are? Can you explain it to me?
It's when you think of something and you make a prediction of like what it is. You're like saying what you think it is.
Right. Pretty much. You say what you think something's going to be. And so, do you know what a forecast is? Have you heard that word before, forecast? Where have you heard that word?
On the news.
On the news. And what are they usually talking about when you hear that?
Weather.
Weather. So, weather forecasts. And usually, I think if you've seen a weather forecast, here I'm going to pull one up on my phone here. They're talking about what the weather's going to be for the following day or week. So right here we have just a simple forecast for our area. I don't know if it's going to show good. It's backwards, but that's what I'm showing her. And so it has our day today, the weather today, right now, and it has the different times, and it shows us tomorrow and the day after, So it shows us a few days. And you can scroll, it shows us the next week. So we're going to be talking about predictions and forecasts. And actually, if we look at this, you can see next week, it shows a little bit of rain. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. How do they know that there's going to be rain? How can they predict that when we're only in today? How do they know that stuff? And how do you think they know that stuff? Do you have an idea? How do you think they figure that out, scientists and the news people?
They probably predict what the weather is that day, and they go on from that.
Okay, that's what I think. That's pretty much, you know what I'm saying. So they also do measuring. So when it is raining, have you ever heard if it's raining, they'll say, oh, it's going to be 6 inches of rain today. You ever heard anybody say that? Or it's going to be 2 inches, 3 inches of rain. So there's a lot of science that goes into that stuff. It's not just people saying, they have evidence and they have things that they figure out from before that they take on to the next time. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to need you to write down some vocabulary words for me so that it can help us as we go on in the unit, okay? So we're going to talk about predictions. Ooh. Oh, spaghetti. Let me get you the definition that I need for you. Spaghetti. Is that it? Nope. Nope. There is a specific definition I want you to write for it. And I can't seem to find it. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? So prediction. Do you know how to spell prediction? You can break it down. So that's P-R-E. Dict. D-I-C-T-I-O-N. Prediction. And so a prediction is a foreseen estimation without data. So you can write that. It's for your notes. Foreseen.
But I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I got you. I'll read it again. A foreseen.
Is that like a whole word?
Mm-hmm. So that means I foresee something happening. That's saying I can see it before it happens. Foreseen estimation. You know what an estimation is, right? It's like a prediction. So it's a different word for it. So it's a foreseen estimation.
It's a foreseen experiment.
Without data. So we know what data is. That's evidence. That's when you collect data and stuff like that. So I know you said, like you were saying, those are some words. You're like, what? So that's a prediction. That's just the definition of a prediction. But it's pretty much what you said. It's just thinking about something. And it says it doesn't use any data. So that means I don't have any evidence for why I think what I do. I'm just thinking, off of what I think I know. And so a forecast, that's our next word. If you write that down, forecast. Do you know how to spell that?
Okay. I think so.
Okay. Well, it's for your notes, and then we can go over it later.
I haven't been working on spelling.
It's okay. The more you read, the better you spell. So if you like to read books and just keep reading books, I think you'll get it.
Forecast.
So forecast. And the definition of a forecast is it's based on past and present data.
What was it again?
Based on past and present data. So one is no data and the other one is data. And so the thing about forecasts, so I just showed you, they already have a forecast for the next week. And so sometimes it'll say one thing, but then you walk outside and that's not what they said it was going to be. So even though they have data that they had to figure out what they thought the weather was going to be, it could still change because that's only on the past. It's only based on the past and it's based on today. So they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but they're trying to use science to figure it out. So all of them are pretty much predictions. Predictions and forecasts, they're similar, but a prediction is just today is sunny, tomorrow should be sunny. But there's no evidence to support that. Whereas forecast, it has evidence. They might be looking at the clouds. They're like, okay, so a couple of cities over, it's raining. So maybe by later today or tomorrow, it's going to rain over here because of how the clouds move. So that's a little different. So have our vocabulary words written down. We already talked a little bit about weather and rain and a little bit about measuring. So now we're going to talk about graphs. So we're talking about data and we're talking about evidence. So they don't just come up with, oh, it's raining, so it's going to rain tomorrow. They measure how much rain it's going to be. They like to know what's going to be expected. How bad is the rain going to be? So I'm going to give you, can you write, so I didn't get to show you the graph. So these are different types of graphs. You know what a graph is. So that's a bar graph. You might see a dot graph, a line graph. You see stuff like this in school? Okay. So those are all kind of graphs. And so I want you to write a blank graph. I want you to draw a blank graph. So that means you're going to draw your X and Y axis. Oh. So yeah, just the up and down and the sideways part. Yep, perfect size. Perfect size. And so now I'm going to give you some information, and I want you to put it on there where you think it goes. Because you've seen some graphs in school by now. You've seen different graphs and pictures. So I want to see if you know how to even set one up in the first place, okay? And it's okay if you don't because we're going to be talking about it. So if I give you the numbers 1 through 6, where do you put your numbers on your graph? And here's where some of the graphs I showed. Yes, you're right. So go ahead and number them how you think they go. 1 through 6. Okay. We're going to keep going, so I'm going to look at it when we're done. And then, so if I were to give you some words as labels, where do your words go? It's going to be Monday, Tuesday. We're going to make kind of like our own little forecast. Monday through, let's just say Fridays, 5 days. Where would your words go when you're making a graph?
Down here.
Okay. So, could you put them there for me so I see how you like them to look, how they're supposed to look?
So weekdays?
Mm-hmm. Just Monday through Friday, no Saturday or Sunday. do the whole thing, just so you know what day it is. And I just want to make sure you know where they're kind of supposed to go. Okay. And so, if a graph has a title, where would your title go? Because most of the time they do have a title to tell people what this graph is talking about. Where would that go?
On the top.
On the top? Good place. Yep. Sometimes you will see some on the bottom, but for the most part, when you're in school and you're making your own graphs, it'll go on the top. And so the name of your graph is going to be 5-day rain forecast. So can you write that for me? 5-day rain forecast. And so how did you know that the numbers went where they went? You just knew that? You just seen it a lot? Or you think that's where they're supposed to go? You just seen it there a lot? Yeah. So, in every graph, your numbers are going to go on that side, actually. Just because it reads it better. So when you're marking stuff, so let's say by Monday it was 6 inches of rain. You're going to put the 6 here. So there was a lot of rain. Well, really your number is supposed to go the opposite way, because it'll show it better. So you do 1 inch of rain up to 2 inches of rain. You can see that it's different, like it's getting bigger, right? But that's good. That's a really good start. So I love that. Love that. And okay. So, when you're looking at a graph too, your x-axis is going to be the one that goes this way, and your y-axis is going to be the one that goes this way. So normally you don't hear much about the x and y-axis until you get into some higher grades, but just for the sake of the graphs that we're going to be working on, we're going to talk about the numbers, and we're going to talk about the words. So your words are going to go horizontal, and your numbers are going to go vertical, up and down. I think you did really good, and it's a good start to talk about more of what we'll be talking about. So, like we said, in the next week, it's supposed to be raining. So, if it doesn't rain, what our project is going to be is we're going to be measuring the rain. So, we're going to get some measuring cups, and we're going to go outside, and we're going to see if it rains, how many inches, because scientists measure rain by inches. And if it doesn't rain, then we have 0 inches. So, then we're going to be ending up predicting by what we have for our next 4 days, 3 days. We're going to see what rain's looking like, and then we're going to make our own predictions, because this way we'll have data. We're going to make our own forecast. Okay? All right. Well, I think that's a good start, and then we're going to work some more on them. We're going to make some blank ones, and we're going to be putting in data. Okay? All right. Awesome. High five. Thank you. Love the effort today.